Welcome back to the FTTV podcast. We are back for 2025, big year ahead. And can't wait to get stuck into all things SuperCoach. And on the agenda today, obviously lots of changes in the SuperCoach, the game itself, but we'll touch on the flex position. We'll go over a few lessons from last year. It's been a while now, so we'll touch on that, always important. Touch on what we're looking for in preseason games, any plays that we're keen to watch. Touch on the buys briefly as well, and go through a few mid prices in each line, not too in depth because they're about to play and we can just watch them play. I think it starts tomorrow, the practice game, so that should be good. Enno, welcome back. What's happening, bro?
Not much, mate. Not much. You finally dragged me to make our first podcast for the year or the preseason or whatever. Try to hold off as long as possible. I've actually, thinking back to last year, probably checked out with a good, 8 weeks to go. So it's been a good off season. I always like this time of year when, NBA starts and NFL around the back end of AFL season. I do enjoy watching those sports and not, stressing too much about SuperCoach and all your players. So enjoy watching my teams there and then obviously the summer and enjoy that break. So it does creep up on you quick. Like we're just saying, it's 20 days till round 0. And then obviously because SuperCoach doesn't start then 27 days till the first, points will matter for our team. So going to have to start looking at it at some point. I've been toying a little bit in the last week, I would say, like that picker before Christmas or whenever I made a team, and I didn't touch, the app at all till probably this week or last week, and starting to look at a few players and seeing what everyone's saying about, some training reports and stuff. Because, I reckon the last few years we've been pretty hectic on, every day, what's the new news and all that. And it just can get too much. And, I think it's been clouding my thinking the last, few years because didn't do that much of a hectic research, probably the 5 years prior to that. So I'm going to try and do that this year. Just, maybe talk to you, see in the Discord a little update every now and then, and not just flood myself with all this news like every day. So see if that makes a difference this year, mate. Because, I'm looking for some improvements.
Finding the right balance. I think you've come back this preseason a little bit earlier. I think usually you start a bit later than this, which is good. But
the game's creeping up, so
it'll be a good year. And I think this time of year, even for me, I just got to cut all the bullshit out and just stop playing around with Nick Bryan and Nick Haynes and stuff and just play properly. Players that have sort of low odds, they could work, but sort of a lot needs to go right. So maybe snap out of a bit and concentrate the next few weeks, which is very important because it's easy to get, if you make too many changes leading into round 1, generally you're in trouble. So look, we'll see how we go. But Discord is going really well at the moment. It's picked up certainly with SuperCoach back and playing a sort of a fake fantasy league at the moment.
That's probably a simulated game.
I think people get involved with that, so that's a bit of fun. Should we say our team name is the Missiles? So we're doing good.
Shout out to Hammy. I don't know how. ChatGPT, I think obviously helping him a bit, but he knows how to code things. That man, and got a lot of people interested and active, I guess, which is good. Because it'll only kick up the SuperCoach talk as well in the next month, I would say.
Yep, and also if you want to be in an FTTV league, join our Discord, and the signups have just started today for that. So all you got to do is just log into Discord and then write your name and what your ranks have been, so we sort of know where to place your last 2 ranks. So I think last year we had about 240 people in those leagues. So hopefully that can spread across. Sorry, it was 220 across 11 leagues. So if you want to be in the league, Discord's a place to be. And it's good to just chat to people about SuperCoach. Lots of different ideas. A lot of people like Tom Green. A lot of people sort of don't want him with the buys, stuff like that. So it's starting to heat up a bit, which is good. So feel free to join. Now, this year we've had the flex position. Obviously, this has been out for a while now, but we haven't had a podcast to do it. Even any initial thoughts? Are you going to play differently because of the flex position? Any thoughts on that,
Look, initially, it showed up in BBL, didn't it? So it was, a totally different game, that game, obviously to AFL, but sort of got to look at it. And I think early on, it's not really going to matter. Basically, it's just going to be your next best rookie off the bench is what I would, aim to have in that position. So you're basically just getting an extra look at a rookie score, and you're hopefully kicking off your worst rookie score, that week during upgrade season, the first half of the year, right? So, if you cop a 10 and a shit rookie score, or obviously maybe a concussion sub, something like that, someone gets injured early, you're going to just be able to kick that off and get another rookie score instead of being dealt the bad and having to cop the bad one. So it's good in that sense, maybe reduces a bit of the luck in the game. I think what really is going to matter for it is down the track, after upgrade seasons, getting towards the end, what are you going to fill that 23rd spot in your team with? Like an extra premium, obviously, is the goal to have 23 premiums. Then you're just getting your best 22 premiums every week. And that's going to be big. And I think most people have defaulted when it first came out saying that, maybe look to have a third ruck because that's not something you can ever have. And, obviously every year's different. Is there going to be 3 top-end rucks that are worth fielding? I'd say most years there probably is. We know rucks do really well in SuperCoach, especially over the last, I don't know, however many years since they've got those points for hitouts to advantage. So, we saw Cherry dominate last year. People were flipping between Gawn and Grundy early. And then, I missed out on Cherry. I didn't have him all year and he absolutely killed me. So, if you can get 3 ruckmen there by, the end of upgrade season, and it doesn't have to be the end. You can do it during, I guess. You can put someone in a third ruckman in there pretty soon. Then I think that's going to be the benefit. Maybe it's a 9th mid if there's a lot of mids killing it, or another mid has a really good run on the run home, and you've already got 8 mids. Maybe you want a 9th one that's got a really good fixture run to end the year or something like that. So yeah, early on, I don't think it's going to matter that much, George. It's really just your next best rookie off the bench. Or Matt Flynn if he manages to get a game. But you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to matter more who you put there as a premium later on. What did you think of it when you heard about it?
I haven't really like changed my team too much just because of it. 2 things I thought of are if you start with 3 rucks early, you're kind of stuck with that because you got to have them on field. And you can't really, if you want an extra defender rookie that comes in, extra mid rookie that comes in later in the season, you can't really get that to flex. You might be a bit handicapped. So probably won't start 3 rucks. And then having 31 and 1 drop off, maybe that helps having more rookies on the field a little bit, which is not ideal. It's not what we want, but I don't know, just trying to balance the team. We got so many mid prices this year. How many more do we actually want? Can we afford to run 5 or 6 rookies on the field to start off with? I'm aiming for 5, but I think I've got 6 at the moment. So I think in previous years, I reckon I've tried to go 1 or 2 and just go full blown mid prices, and probably didn't work. But at the same time, you got to hit your mid prices. I think it was the Bruin year and whatnot. Yeah. But
it would be cool to see how the flex went back in the day. I say back in the day, but without these early buys, just with straight 10-week runway until the mid-season buys, because it's 23 every week down to 22. With this best 18 for buddy, I mean, it's only 3 weeks this year, isn't it? Not 4. It's still
3 and 3 and 5 later.
Yeah, it's gonna make it it just, I don't know, but
it's just hard to make up ground those weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I honestly, overall, don't think it's that big of a thing. I think, it's just going to be cool to. End of the day, George, it all comes down to the year we get and the money makers that present each year, and obviously, hopefully, not missing out on many of them and getting most of them, and then how many primos you can get, because as years gone past 2019, 2018, those years when there's a lot, and we ended up with a 23rd primo on the bench. So now. Now you're able to field that guy every week, and instead of having to loop, it just basically gets that loopholing crap out of it, and you just get your best 22 scores without having to. And obviously, you still can loop on other lines and whatnot, so that'll never change, I don't think. But I've always said it would be cool to just pick your team and then have bench 1 and 2, on defense 1, 2, and have kind of like FPL. I don't want to compare it to another game too much, but you pick your order of your bench, and if that player doesn't pay, they come on in this order. So. Because it's rare, but that whole emergency thing where if you've already used an emergency, you can't swap them later. People shouldn't be getting punished for that. If that rare occasion happens, they should just get the next score in line.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's good QOL change overall. All right, next topic. Lessons from last year. Always important. Learn every year. I can start here. I think I started all right last year, but I traded in Rao for 640, Merritt for 630, Ryan for I think it was 5 or 6 players, and I think it like all I had to do was go like Neil over Rao and Luke Ryan over Whitfield earlier. Whitfield got me points in the back end, but yeah, not having Luke Ryan, I think I just paid for the wrong players. Like there was a few players you had to pay up for, like a Ryan or a Butters, who like never really dropped until like late in the season or like round 14, 15. But yeah, it's tough. Like just trying to time everything. But yeah, I want to balance this year. I want to balance value and mid prices. I still am okay paying up a little bit. Now that might not be the highest ceiling strategy. But at the same time, like I want a really good team. I didn't have the most optimal team last year, and I feel like that's still the goal. And if you balance some really top end keepers with a lot of value, surrounded by value, then you should be on the runway to get good cash gen and have a best 22 team, or like close to best top in each line. So
Yeah.
I'm okay paying like a Sheasel, probably a Butters, a Brayshaw, probably Bont. I'm okay if anyone wants to fade him though. So maybe Sherry as well. Maybe I'm not too sure, but like there's a few plays I'm okay paying up for just because I think they'll be top of the line, and yeah, they're good chance they're like top of the line. So yeah, trying to balance value and whatnot, and yeah, not paying 620k over and over and over again, and expecting none of them to regress. So yeah, that was very rookie mistakes from me. But any lessons from last year you would like to take out and into this year?
Yeah, I mean, I probably said this last year, but just trying to tone down on that FOMO. Like I'm looking now, I used 3 boosts in the first like 3 opportunities I got. Like, and it wasn't to like, oh, missed rookie or missed mid pricer, or it was just FOMO. Let me turn Nick Martin and I forget what I did, someone else into Sarong and a cheaper guy because Sarong's going gangbusters. Like, just don't do that, dude. Sit tight.
Yeah.
Unless a guy's injured, unless a guy's clearly got a terrible role or something. If they're just performing bad, Hayden Young as well. We like that whole thing at the start of the year was so stupid. Like,
I think most people gave him most people gave him a second chance, and he stuffed up and he posted like another 16. Like all is in their mind because Sarong's gone 140 in the midfield.
I know. Look, it was funny, but I think all these trades, having 40, like I've just overcorrected too much the other way, going, if you want to be a chance to win in any given year, you've got to go really, really aggressive. And look, hearing the stories of people that have won, you probably do, and you just got to get super lucky and that you time all getting the guys at the right time, not get guys that will regress. But there's obviously luck involved. But I'm just saying, don't be so overly aggressive to where you're not actually getting anywhere with your team. You're just flipping guys for guys because you will like this guy better or he's in better form. Like have actual reason behind it, especially using these boosts that are very, very important and can be very important later in the year. Just try to be more disciplined. Like I used to be very disciplined. We had to be. We only had 24 trades and it was someone's injured for 2 weeks. Well, sorry, mate, you cop a rookie score for 2 weeks and then they come back. Like you don't, like nowadays you got to be aggressive. So I would trade a probably 2+ week injury every time, unless it's the best player, like top of the line, that type of guy. But like, yeah, just be more disciplined. And that obviously comes into preseason, picking the best team possible, or more of a flexible team to where if you need to get, you missed a mid pricer or you missed a rookie, you're able to get there from someone. But yeah, that start of the year really just set me up for failure the rest of the rest of the way, I think. So yeah,
I'm the same. I'll lose concentration over the littlest things in this game. So I think like for me, maybe I pick like a safer starting team so I don't fall into getting baited by early bad scores and other big scorers that you want to get in. So I might go that route this year, pick a safe team. But it is fun to have the odd pod. By the way, Jordan Dawson is 2.8%.
It's pretty crazy. Like like I see last year being his worst year of the, let's say like a 5-year gap from 2 years ago till the next 3 years. Like I can't see him having, and it wasn't terrible, but I can't see him averaging that, for the next couple of years. Like he'll improve for sure.
I can see.
So.
Yeah, I can understand why people don't want him, like role question marks and stuff. But I just thought that was really, really low. Like Sam Darcy was higher owned than him. It's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
So yeah, these practice games are coming up. Honestly, last year, apart from maybe Heaney was round 0, had a better idea of him. But honestly, I came away out of the practice games in the first few rounds thinking I would have been better off not watching anything. I'll still watch and stuff, but hopefully they don't make many changes.
The whole Gorn Grundy, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. A lot of people jumped off for Gorn. There was like rumors of knee issues and stuff or rubbish like that, or I guess age regression. I fortunately started him, but a lot of people didn't, and it was a brutal watch. If you had Sherry, you would have been okay, but otherwise it was a disaster, really.
I had to watch Rowan's 10 clangers a week for the first few months, and then he turned it around, had a good second half of the year. But
he'd take the greatest intercept mark and helicopter it into the chest of the opposition. It was so hard to watch. But anything in the practice games you're sort of looking for? Is it like you're not worried about your premiums or anything like that, or like rookies? Like, what are you sort of looking for? Like specific players or roles, or what are you thinking going into the practice games?
I'll be honest, George, I'm going to try not to put too many eyes on it. Okay, like the main thing is I want to see is players playing in the position. What rookies looking to crack the best 22. But other than that, I can't see too much of performance wise. Try not to let that sway you too much. Like, there's only just really a few. I mean, we've got a few guys listed, but like a lot of the defenders, what type of kick-ins are they getting? That's the main, that's always the main thing. And obviously that can change, but in a practice game, usually you want to practice, that's something a team will do. Let's give the ball to the guy that's going to take our kick-ins this year and see how we like Nick Martin was getting them heaps last year and all that. So anyway, like try not to watch too many of them, to be honest. I'll just let the reports do their thing, see where people are playing, if they are in the right spots, and just some things like, obviously that Conway injury yesterday, see what the Ruck thing is like at Geelong, even though I probably don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole personally.
Yeah.
Freo as well, their situation. But yeah, just all those mid-price guys, Bailey Smith, see what does he look like at Geelong in their midfield. Obviously, I'll probably end up picking him like a lot, but you still want to see him with a decent role. So, look, no, I don't have too many questions jotted down, George. I'll be perfectly honest. That's a long way of saying it. I'm sure you do. So, you tell me mine. You tell me yours, and I'll have my opinion and see what you got.
To be honest, I haven't really thought about what I'm going to look for in the practice games because I'm looking at my team and I'm like, I say I'm happy with it, and 2 days could change. But
after we jump off, you'll change something.
Yeah, I think a few mid prices in the forward line. I guess we can touch on later. Not the most common ones, not the Daniel and McRae and stuff, but a few others there. See how Reedy looks. I've thought about Reedy R2. I think that might be potential suicide though. He's going to play tomorrow in the Indigenous game or versus All-Star or versus Freo game. So we're going to look at that. I don't want to think too hard about these practice games. More you're just looking at the role and whatnot. Just enjoy having a bit of footy back. I guess the Crows midfield split is still up in the air a bit. I think like Rochelli's trained there the whole preseason. I don't think he'll get much time there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little bit of time in there. But yeah, it's practice games. It's probably one lesson from a few years ago is when you're looking for a player that looks like maybe they're going to break out, a young player, something that I didn't do last year and I'm going to do more this year is like background checking the draft profiles. Give me an example of, as I've said before, Tanner Bruin. So Tanner looks really good inside. He only had like 17, 18 touches, but his TOG was really high and he scored really well. Looks really good the inside, but he's never really had an outside game. So when I picked him and he wasn't touching outside of a stoppage, it's like he needed like a lot of CBAs and high TOG to like actually do okay, plus play well in non-practice games. And immediately with like 1 or 2 games, you could see like, okay, he can't win the ball on the outside. The draft profile tells me this, and it might not always, people can develop this aspects of the game, but when you're not sure, and I should have checked, like his time on ground was, when you time on ground something in a practice game doesn't mean it's going to be that in a real game. So they just gave him more time on ground. He's always been low time on ground. They just gave him like 85 in the practice game. So looking at those stats, I guess, cross-checking with previous stats, whether it's draft, VFL, AFL, whatever, if you can. So, yeah, otherwise you can get baited into a trap potentially. That's something I'll be mindful of. I did it again with Winhager last year. Outside game. Draft profile told me that. But role was good, but he didn't have the outside game to score, and disposal was poor as well. So, just gotta lock in for that stuff. Got to really background check. So, otherwise, I guess it's just mid prices. We'll touch on. We can touch on these mid prices now. I think. In defense, I'll read them out. Roberts, Short, Perryman, Haynes, Mills, and then Ari and Josh Sin. So that's Ari Schoenmaker. I think we all have Mills, full-time mid. It looks like midfield. Not maybe spends a bit of half forward, bit of wing, whatever. But mostly
discussion. Mid. Yeah, as long as he's
so I think
healthy.
We're all going to pick him with a full preseason. Yeah, durability sucks, but he's too cheap. So do you have Roberts?
I do actually right now. Yeah, it's tough because I'm also looking at Maxi Holmes, which we can talk about it at another time. But that's actually someone who you want keep an eye on in preseason what exactly his role is. But yeah, Matty Roberts, we kind of do know what his role is going to be. It's just how at his price point it's good, but how much do you not trust? But do you have the belief that he's going to be a good enough pick to? I mean, it doesn't have to be top 6, obviously, at that price, but he can do well enough to probably average 95 to 100 and I don't know, get to the buyers. Like, he does have the chance to be a keeper for the whole year, but you got to see, he's relatively, like, how many games has he played, George? You probably know it's not a heap.
I think he's fourth year now, and he's had the injury. He's had
exactly when he was a rookie or whatever for us. He missed a bit of time. I remember he was sitting on my bench for a while. So look, he's good, and he's like found a role that they clearly want him in. So I do like his potential there. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on in preseason. Just confirm that he's got the role we want, and after that, it's up to you whether you trust it to be a decent pick for you. So
yeah, I watched him late last year. For some reason, he didn't go well in the finals. I don't know if I should just ignore that or not. But I look at junior numbers: 32 touches in under 18s, 18 in the SNFL reserves.
Yeah.
So look, he's capable of accumulating. So, and watching him late last year, he sort of played. He reminded me of Bailey Dale the way he played, sort of like playing a bit deeper, switching. In defense, felt like he was the main man driving our defense.
Yeah.
And then finals, I don't know what happened in the finals. It's just, I don't know if I should look into that too much, but the role looked good. Mills is going to be out of there now. He was sort of just like moving the ball slowly back there. He wasn't anywhere near his best. So I think they got Blakey back there. Blakey can sort of play a number of different roles, and he's not a massive accumulator, but I like Roberts for that price just because of what he did in the last 8 weeks of the regular season or so, however many weeks it was.
Yeah.
And the price as well. And we're all kind of a lot of the top end guys like your Whitfield, Houston, and whatnot have the buy. So save a bit of money, hopefully makes a bit of money. And these are the sort of value picks you need to pop to go up the ranks. And he's only like 5-6% owned. So he's in my team. Coming into the season, I was reasonably confident he'd go well, but I wasn't probably game enough to pick it. But here we are now that Sinclair's gone down. So he's in my team. But yeah, I want to just watch him and who else is scoring around him. Yep. There's also times that Horse threw him on the wing, and he's not a wingman. Like, he was up against Jeremy Sharp, and Sharp had like a career game. Like, I think he had like 2 goals and just completely cooked him. I'm like, he's not a wingman. Play him in position, Horse. But yeah, from that list, I guess I'll touch on Haynes. Probably not. I think too many question marks overall and stuff, but I'm just interested to see how he looks. He could play tall, could play small, as he said. Perryman looks to get mid-time. I think that's pretty much all we can say on that for now. Any thoughts on Jaden Short? Because this is a tough one to get a read on.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was always Shorty's biggest fan, but he's had a poor couple of years, I'd say. And I don't know. I think like it looks really good on paper, I think, to a lot of people, but I just think you probably got to temper your expectations with it a bit because I don't know.
Who's playing in your back line this year? Do you know?
Well, Bolter when he gets back from suspension.
So like,
And
who's
then it's
taking
like,
Rioli's
I mean,
points?
Brody's still there, Boston's still there, and those guys
Yeah.
don't mind, as long as they're playing.
Yeah.
They don't mind, a bit of the pill in the back line. Obviously, yeah, Rioli gone, but Rioli will just be replaced by a young kid. But I don't know who that'll be. Whether it's, trainer who we drafted, Caleb Smith, who's been there for a little bit. He got a game or two last year. Who's the other one? Tresize. Like, I don't know. Like, who knows? But
Yeah.
that's one of them will replace Rioli, and then yeah, I just think expect more of the same from Shorty. To be honest, like somewhere in the 90s. I don't think he's going to go above 100. So I don't think he's going to fail as a pick, but I don't think he's going to be like a smash hit, either. So
do you think he could repeat this 80 average that he's done?
What was it like? Was it that low? Was it?
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, possible. I mean, end of the day, that probably came down to absolutely zero to kick two up the field. And I don't think that's going to change too much. Like, isn't Lynch done something again in the last few weeks or something? Like yeah, like whatever. He will not play every game this year. I'd put $1 million on it if I had that much money. Like seriously, let's be real. He's just there to teach the young, the 4 young key forwards or whatever we've got now, and hopefully play as many games as he can. But that could be 10 again. That could be 15, probably max, I would say. So
yeah.
I don't know. Shorty's not that type of guy to chip it sideways. He's always going to look for distance. And if he's going distance and there's no one up there that can create a good enough contest, well, hey, he's just going to get a lot of turnovers, isn't he? So,
okay.
I don't know. When we were good, he was really good, Shorty, because we just had a structure up the field. Like we were a good team. So it didn't matter. The game plan was get distance and there was people there to make sure, we kept the ball. There's not really that now. So, yeah, you might get a lot more of the ball, or not a lot more of the ball, but uptick in that type of area. But it might come at the cost of efficiency and all that other rubbish. So we know that's not maybe fantasy. I haven't looked at fantasy yet, George. I'm sure you have. Maybe he's more, could be a decent pick in fantasy. But SuperCoach, you need to hit your targets, don't you? So yeah,
I think he's priced cheap in fantasy too. That's probably another story, but. I'm seeing I've got like the Mills Roberts combo Sheasel, and then I've got Nass actually in that format, just looking at it.
Yeah, marks probably don't help Shorty either too, actually thinking though in fantasy, which you definitely need in fantasy. Anyway.
Moving on. 2 young players, Sin and Ari Schoenmaker. Sort of, if the rookies don't come through for us, like I can sort of pinpoint, like I can probably reel off 6-7 names in the forward and midfield that are going to get games. Like you got Smith, Sardis, Elijah Hewitt, Curtin, Berry, Davidson. Just
you think Curtin will play for sure?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's complicated with. I think if he sort of is like a key forward or a half forward, so I don't really know how exactly it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because he looked good as a key forward, leading up the ground, sort of Taylor Walker's role, but I think Tex will play. So. Anyway, I'm saying that's just 6 names. I'm like, you can almost pencil in Sardis with the Parrish injury, you would think.
Yeah.
Plays. Whereas in defense, okay, you can pencil in Zach Reed, who's the most injury-prone player in the whole game. Maybe Patton was played in the A's, but I think he played in the B's when it was 18 versus 18. So I think he's a reasonable chance. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens. But like, I feel like there's no one we can really pencil in defense for the rookie, so you might be looking to pay up. Again, I say this many times, but we can probably should chill on that until 3-4 weeks.
Of course. Yeah.
So Ari, I'm not too sure about Ari, what sort of role he plays. Does he have to play taller? I'm not too sure. It sounds like Sinclair's not too bad, although I can't remember if we've been given a timeline, but Didn't seem serious, so Sinclair will be there. Still pretty young, and 270 is kind of expensive as well. But yeah, they do like the ball in his hands and has a long kick. Then Josh Sin was touted for the Houston role, had a bit of a puff piece in the Advertiser, which is the SA paper. I haven't really seen anything from Sin to make me think that he's going to make the grade. To be fair, he's had a lot of injuries. So I think it's worth watching if the role is really good. VFL number, like he played in the finals and he scored like a 40 and a 50.
Yeah.
I think it's just maybe a watch. I haven't really thought much. Like I'm open to it, but I haven't ever had him in my team. So I think maybe one to watch.
Yep.
We can move on to the midfield. So I think we all have Clary for mid prices.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one that doesn't need discussing, I don't think.
Yeah.
If you want to go against him, be my guest, but yeah.
You got to
You back a
respect
guy
what he's
like
done.
that in to
Yeah.
bounce back. Like,
Yeah.
and if he doesn't, so be it. But I can't see it being much like nowhere near as worse, as bad as last year. So, yep.
Yep. And then a few mid prices in the midfield. Like there's a Will Day, might play a bit forward, but has the buy. So I can see, like, I think I was listening to Lloyd Meek presser the other day, and he was called out Will Day. He's had a massive preseason, looks really good. I also said he's like really, really good in the air. So played a bit forward in a match sim. With the buy, I'll probably let that one go, but wouldn't be surprised if he takes his game to pretty high level. Adam Chera, this pick's annoying me because this is one I'm probably going to anti-pod. And the Carlton's fixture, you got the big three, West Coast North and Richmond in the first 6.
Yeah.
Do you have Chera in your team?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
I do. And I know you'll know more than me, but I know how bad his run's been the last 12 months.
Yeah.
So obviously a risk in that sense, but I think it's probably the one in my team I'm willing to take. I don't have any other players with supreme injury, risk in my team. So he's the one I'm probably willing to take. And look, it may be short-lived, but if he can even just average, 100 plus for the first whatever weeks until he, I don't want to say inevitably, because hopefully he stays out there for his own sake. But that many soft tissues is very hard to, and they might even, take a careful approach with him too, after however many games. Yeah, that too. Maybe subbed out, after, his 3rd or 4th game of the year just to keep me. I don't know. Obviously, we'll probably learn more in preseason and towards the season. We'll, I'm sure Vossi will speak more about how he's, where he's at and whatnot. But it is a risk I'm willing to take, given it, from here it all goes well up until round 1.
Yeah, I think he said in interviews like his body's feeling really good, like really confident.
I'm sure he'll say it, George, but until you get out on that park against another team and have to make sprinting efforts and whatnot, I'm sure he's been running really well in preseason and all that. But yeah, until that happens in the next few weeks, then he'll really know where he's at. So
his ownership's very low, like 4 to 5%.
Is it?
Yeah. Sure. I'm not going to argue against the pick. I'm just going to be stubborn.
Yeah.
The way I see it,
I could totally see.
I'm paying an extra 100 for Dawson at the moment. That's the way I see it. So you've got both, but
I got both and clarity.
I think it's perfectly fine. Yeah, because like that, all that money you save, you might save 200k on a Sarong or whatever, and then that 200k gets a rookie off maybe. So, yeah,
we'll see.
If it pops, it's one
definitely not locked into it, of course.
Yeah,
but all has to go right from here.
James Peatling, I've had pretty much all preseason, just based on the fact that I think he'll do a 90-ish average and get around 50% CBAs. And all the talk's been he's looking really good out there and showed that in the Giants when he got opportunity. I don't think he's a lock for anyone, but for me, I'm just quite happy to just pick him, and I think he can make 100k, maybe a little bit more than that, and keep a rookie off, and sort of help me balance out having a few expensive players like a Bond and Butters, etc. So No, I've got Peatling. I think he'll do about 90-ish. So, do
Yeah.
you have him?
No, that's pretty much that Chera spot, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Where I would. So I think I had him in my team 1 point last week, but haven't since. So yeah, that, as you said before, with that Adelaide midfield mix, what's it really look like? I don't know. So it could definitely change back to Peatling if depending on what it looks like in the next couple of weeks, and if not, maybe heading into the season, if something goes wrong with Chera or Peatling looks, it's absolutely dominating. It's a switch I can make. So look, you probably know more than me, but he's sitting actually on my draft. I got to keep a league in the draft. I got Peatling, picked him up off the waivers towards when he played those few games for JBUS. So for that sake, I'm hoping he gets a lot of mid time. But yeah, we'll just monitor it, see what happens in Adelaide Pracky games and where he's in the pecking order.
I think there's a Crows match sim going on today. I can't remember what time, but we'll maybe read a report on that. Yeah, he has spent a little bit of time on the wing in practice games, but has also been mostly mid. So
yeah,
he's in
I
my team.
looked at Cumming briefly too, George, but I think he's just
yeah,
on the wing, isn't he?
He said on the news last night he's playing mostly wing,
which sucks. If he was in defence, it'd be intriguing, but
yeah, we'll see. I think a new coach will throw him straight in defence, but we'll see what happens. The other mid-pricer I have is Ollie Hollins. I think when I first raised this, it was scoffed at pretty heavily. But I think the
by
role
me about a month ago, I was like, "What is Ollie
was.
Hollins doing in people's teams?" I hadn't looked at the game yet, but then I heard, "Oh, he's playing defence." Okay, makes sense, but I still don't see why he would be the one given the reins.
He did 80 plus in the role last year when he got.
How many games did he play it?
Like 5, 6, 7-ish.
Okay,
I haven't done the exact numbers, to be honest.
Okay,
but I remember, I think it was the last 5 was 85 in DT from memory.
Yep.
But it's sort of hard to tell with looking at DFS when exactly the switch happened because he wasn't getting kick-ins. He got 1 kick in the whole time. I guess the logic was if he can do low 80s, then maybe they can bump up to low 90s with no Newman, who in the last 5 averaged 120. It's a lot of extra points, but I guess the risk is like last match sim was reported pretty negatively on his kicking, which we know it's been a knock of his. I like him as a player, but he's not on my team at the moment. Like, what if he's having a bad game? They're just like, you know what, Doc, go back, Hollins, go wing. The whole pick is screwed. So maybe I'll just sit out of that. But I don't know. I kind of like him as a player. Like, good accumulator, good runner. Yeah, tidy up the kicking hopefully at some point. But
just makes way more sense for me for them to go that way. Like leave Hollins on the wing. He's a young kid ready to run up and down. Like he goes very hard. Even for his stature as well. Whereas Doc's, we know where he's at in his career. It's amazing he's still playing, and he's a much better kick and decision maker. I would have thought of halfback. So yeah, you're right. That could be very 2 week in job. Then it's back to that. So
yeah. He'll get first crack at it, pretty sure, but we'll see how he goes.
Sure? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any other mids you want to discuss, but otherwise we can move on to Rucks briefly.
Yeah, we'll just mention a few more players, I think, and
yeah,
we'll discuss some more players once we get some data next week.
So there's 2 mid-price Rucks I've got here, and that is Flynn, who might be behind BJ Williams. See what happens. I mean, I think he's done like an 80. He's like an 80, 85 guy, but yeah,
being behind BJ Williams is a tough scene.
He's had a few niggles as well.
I don't know. I have no idea what they'll do, George.
I think he'll just probably sit out, even if he gets named. I'm nervous. Yeah. The other one I've got is Nick Bryan. I only bring this up because 300k. He does have the buy, but looks like he's going to shoulder a bit more rucking this year. Draper's been training a bit forward, so they're going to play together.
And he's what, 300k?
300, yeah. I've looked at
it. Forget about it.
You're Ruck, forget it. Yeah, I know. I just think there's upside in the pick. Probably not.
There might be, and maybe one day he gets a bit more of a role in there. But
he's still a young
kid, isn't he? And he's still pretty slightest of frame, isn't he?
Well, I think he said he's been focused on putting on weight, and this season he's focused on fitness. So previous seasons been putting on weight. I like it. I think he's a good player. I think it's the wrong conditions for him with Draper there. So I was putting it out there. And then the forward line, I don't think there's any other rucks. I guess like a Jordan Sweet maybe, but I think I'd probably pay a bit more for someone else. Sweet was not too bad back into last year, improved a bit, but
I haven't looked too heavily in there. Obviously maybe Conway was one, but now he's injured, so
yeah.
We know DeConning's a defender. Yeah.
Probably didn't touch on DeConning as well, SDK. I think we'll just sit back and watch, and sounds like terrorism at its finest.
It's Chris Scott, man. It's Chris Scott. Already got enough Geelong players at my team right now. I'm looking at Holmes and Bailey Smith, and that's enough Geelong. That's enough Geelong.
Yeah. So move on to the forward line. We won't touch on the commons. McRae, Daniel, and probably Bailey Smith. I'm just interested. Yeah, I think you mentioned before. Interested in the role for Bailey Smith. He's 15 months off an ACL now.
Yeah, so hasn't played footy in a long time. So, yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not top 6. But we'll see. Could maybe like a Rowan or Petrarca gets DPP depending on what they want to do. But yeah, worry about that.
It's going to be a weird forward year, which is good because it's always the line every year that's like, what's going on. But this year is really not many proven premiums like in there. Usually there's a fair few 500k guys from the year prior that have done it for years on years. And look, I'm probably selling like Dilmore short. He's been pretty good for a few, couple of years now. Obviously, Horn Francis, has only been in the comp however many years. Luke Jackson's always going to be around the mark, but who's going to fill out those like top end positions? Like we've lost Heaney, we've lost there's not that A grade type up and coming besides probably Horn Francis that could really push on that will lose to midfield only next year. So it will be interesting. Obviously the key forward's always sticking about too, but try not to touch them.
No.
Even though a fair few had big Jesse Hogan last year, remember? That was funny.
Kerno was pretty popular as well late in the year.
Yeah, Kerno too.
He was injured though, so
stay away.
Yeah,
stay away.
See how we go. I've got Riley Sanders at the moment.
That's the interesting one, isn't it?
On the Harry Sheasel diet, and we know Sheasel rejects.
He's on the Sheasel diet, but he's also on the Bevo coach as well plan. Yeah. So it's like.
It's a big watch. It's Josh Gablage works for the AFL, did a really good. I think it was 6,000 words he said, and AFL.com.au spoke to Sanders, and was just saying like he's like a new athlete, basically different athlete this year, dropped 7 kilos and whatnot. So he's probably the one I'm most keen to watch.
Yeah,
junior
talent, man. Like kidding. So
I think maybe a bit of confidence with him last year as well. Like got dropped and.
Yeah,
he probably wasn't expecting that. He was like the golden child in the preseason, and he's dropped him. I think some of the subbings was a little baffling, to be honest.
What was that one game? He had a few bad kicks in a row, and Bevo just dragged his ass instantly.
Yeah, he makes some weird decisions. I think the final straw for McRae was he played an underdone harms over McRae.
Yeah.
Like this sickening stuff.
Yeah,
McRae's not McRae anymore, but still like. An underdone harms over him. I thought that was like that would be
Harris over me
in the exit meeting. But yeah, a few other ones. Hugo Boss Garcia. I'm keen on Hugo. I think the opportunity will be there for him with Philippou out. Do you have him?
No, I actually haven't even looked at him, George. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
I've seen you mention him. I think in one of your videos.
He's 240, 250k.
Yeah, and what's their midfield looking like? Steele, obviously.
Still McRae.
Philippou probably number 2. So yeah, McRae, and then then Hugo or?
That's what the hope is. I think he's the most talented one on the list, and he's massive tackler, like huge. Really consistent in the VFL. And look, all reports, like I was reading a Saints.com.au article, plays to watch. First one on the list was Hugo Garcia. The reports have been good so far. He's only 250k with a chance of a decent role. So we'll see. I think it's worth watching.
Yeah,
I really like him as a player. Plays with such a high intensity. Yeah, things player that you'd love to play with, that sort of player.
Yep.
I've got two more. Hutchinson for West Coast sounds like mostly wing, and he's 230k, but he's going to play a little bit on ball. I don't know how much, but it sounds like a little bit because in the last game of the season, he did kick a goal, but he did score 100 SC, and that was with 37% CBAs.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was watching tape of him. He looks pretty good, like a lot of contested handballs. It was only that really small sample. Obviously, when he got drafted, was playing forward, but now he's moving up the ground. So I think he'll make money. Might be like a stalker type. Maybe can just pump 70s out with a little bit of on-ball time to prop that up. I don't have him at the moment. I've sort of had him in and out, but he's one like I'm not attached to. Like 230k for a wing is like pretty whatever. I think in the other format, I think he's like you got to have him just about because he's relatively cheaper in fantasy, but that's another story.
Yeah. Okay.
I like him though. I like him. He looks good. The other one is Ryan Marich playing halfback, taking a few kick-ins at training. Not sure if he's best 22, but
I saw this one. I think I watched a video, and your video from maybe 2 weeks ago, and before you'd got to the forward line, I saw him there, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Ryan Marich, like he's not a rookie price anymore. We're picking a forward at 200k, but yeah, interesting they're doing that with him.
I couldn't tell you if he's any good. I've no idea. So maybe we'll find out something in the practice game.
I think maybe and obviously I'm going back up in price here. The West Coast pick that's been a little bit of talk the last couple of days is Bakes. Supposedly, Minnie saying, McCoulter saying like, because obviously Bakes playing for us was Mr. Thrown all over the park. Midfield stints, forward stints to put some pressure on, and then maybe down back a bit. So apparently McCoulter said to him, I saw the quote that you're playing back all year, mate, and that's your spot. So to get that kind of assurance means, he makes it easy, more comfortable to pick him. But again, it's like, where is he in the backline pecking order of, is he getting kick-ins at all, or is he just, going to be that aggressive halfback that, takes the best small forward or whatever? I don't know.
I did watch him a bit when he was halfback at Richmond. Not last year, maybe the year before. And sometimes he'd just get lost with he'd just play a little bit, start a halfback, but he'd play a little bit higher up, just letting short.
He's just aggressive. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he wouldn't get in. But if you guys were stuffing around with it, which you weren't a lot of, but if you were switching or whatever, Baker was never involved, basically. He was short and lost and whatnot. So I think if he has the keys to that defense, it could be all right. I probably won't start because he's had quite a few down games at halfback, but he's had some big ceiling games. In the new system, I'll be interested to see how that goes, but it sounds like he's going to have a lot more responsibility than he ever did at halfback than he did at Richmond. It's an interesting one.
Just have to see who they're even playing back there. They lost Barras, obviously different, type of player in the defense, but who are there out of the running defenders? Tom Cole's still kicking about.
Ginby's back there, Cole's back there, Hoff.
That's
it's not like guys that are going to take massive points, you would think.
Nah.
Unless they take a big step.
Just another one.
It's an interesting one. Yeah, 440, I think. Not the worst price, but yeah, I mean, we're looking for a role, and it sounds like he's got it, so it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say in the forward line or anything else. Probably last topic, any big fades that you have, highly owned players at the top of your head, no Sherry, no Shees or anything like that?
I'd hate to admit that's the one I have toyed with is actually Shees.
Yeah. Is that role or just price?
It's price. It's sort of, I think I got to make a choice between 3 out of the 4 of him, Bont, Butters, Cherry, right?
Yeah.
Cherry's pretty important being a ruck in that position. I don't really trust many others to pick at that spot, so I think he kind of just sits there by default. And then it's just down to Bont and Butters, no Shees or one of them. And it's really I think I've said, mate, I'll be picking Shees in my team for the next 10 years, and I don't want to I think I said that last year, and I don't want to be the very next year I go, I'm not starting this kid, he's the Messiah. So it's hard. It's tough because I think the mid I would drop would be Bond instead of Butters if I was to go back, go to Shees. So that's probably the choice I'm tossing up. There's no one else really that's like super highly owned premium that I don't have. I don't think. Just quickly checking before. I mean, I guess Nick Dacos is still on 38% besides, but that's because it's Nick Dacos. So
Yeah, I've barely seen him in any team. With
Yeah,
the stuff in the buy. Wouldn't
yeah.
bother.
I guess TDK is pretty highly owned still. I guess too. Just don't
Who's your
know.
R1, R2 again?
No, I got Ready R2 like you, mate. So it's not really legit, is it?
Yeah.
Just toying with
Okay.
some, an extra mid there. Like I got Dawson, Brayshaw, Bont and Butters. Like, Clary is pretty stacked in the midfield.
I think Rocks we can look at another time. It's a tough one.
Big Shrek down for another year.
Yeah, poor guy. This was unlucky though. It's infection from a screw or something.
Yeah, he looked fit when I saw that photo of him in in Qatar. Where was he? Dubai. Yeah, I don't know. Like gone another year, 670K. Like,
that's a headache. I've looked at it. Can you pay 670 for a 33-year-old?
Well, I swear we said, can you pay whatever? I mean, it was cheaper last year, but can we pay whatever it was for a 32-year-old? It's like, well, evidently you could. He's
I don't know.
A goat, man. Fuck.
I don't know if they want to give him this sort of load, like for another year. Like the plan was
never. We probably said it last year, George. Exact same thing.
Poor mismanagement or inability to land the ruckman made him ruck for the whole year. But I don't know if they're gonna.
Have they landed one?
Well, they got Tommy Campbell, but I think he's just straight back up.
Again, have they landed one?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens. The only massive fade I've really got at the moment, I'm okay with fading Sherry with his fixture, although like he'll be one of those players where
he'll find a way, man. He gets 20 touches. He gets beaten in the ruck. He tackles. He'll tackle the mid that the other rucks just tapped it to. Like, it was insane watching him last year.
I'll probably pick him, but I don't have him at the moment, and I don't have TDK. Guess who my R2 is?
Well, it's not Reedy then, is it? It's a Boyd.
Lloyd Meek. I read his fixture. Hang on. I'm just looking at fixture.
Yeah, is it good?
Hang on. Hawthorn fixture. Listen to this. It's got Grundy in round 0.
Washed.
Just forget about that. Now, first game he's got Essendon, usually restrictive. I think 2 in when Nick Bryan was rucking, so he probably had more Nick Bryan. I think Big O went 110, anyway. Witts went 100, and I think Moyle went like 70.
He's looked at this, ladies and gents. He's looked at this.
He's got TDK, easy to score on. Briggs off knee surgery, sweet. You can score against him. Geelong, West Coast. It's a nice run.
Yeah, Geelong West Coast.
He has the buy. Hopefully, Reedy can cover. I just put him in this morning, just looking at it. Maybe it will change. I like him. Did 108 post.
I actually think we need to have a couple minutes. Like, that's all well and good. We'll talk rucks when we have to. But Horn Francis, what is this business of people?
You think it's a bad fade?
I just think it's a really weird one. Like, what are we thinking here? Like, I can understand, okay, I want that 530 to spend on a midfielder like Dawson. That's what you've said you've used that fucking analogy every time, why go Chero? I'll spend 100K and get Dawson. Okay, I get that part. But Horn Francis to me is at worst F2 this year. I don't see how he could, like, Rankin could outscore him, maybe average wise, but I probably expect Rankin to miss a couple of games, or like he's had a pretty not wretched run, but he does get some niggles here and there. And Horn Francis, has had a couple himself too. I won't argue that, but
okay,
he's only getting better, George. And I know this Port midfield thing's like, they only all get 50% max. Not Butters doesn't even get more than 60%. It's like, so what? Like, they all get a decent enough run in there. Horn Francis is more that impact player, right? If he's in the center bounce, I guarantee you it's kind of probably set up for him to get the ball, like, and burst out of stoppage. So I'm not too worried that he's not a 70%, 75% CBA mid, because he plays a bit of forward too and is dangerous down there as well. I don't really get it. And he plays Richmond round 2. I would not want to sit through that, watching him have 30 and kick 4 against us. Like, who's playing on him in our backline, George? Like, when he's down forward, I don't even know. Like, I was at the game last year when Butters went 190, and I swear 3 blokes could do that this year.
Yeah, that's why I got Butters. I'm not watching that. I think his buy is problematic. The round 12 bye. I know we shouldn't be looking at buys at this point, but the round 12 is quite problematic. Yeah, it was a Port Dogs, Carlton, another team.
Rouge as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's in Cherry. Yeah,
So,
I get that.
Well, I went through numbers. Now, don't get me wrong. He could take the next step and make me look silly. I don't think he's going to kill you if he's getting like 65% CBAs, which is like a 10% bump. And
really,
his spike scores last year were without Wines and Rosies, a 132, a 128, and a 117. So I think with the 5 in there, yeah, he'll get a bit more time. 95 post buy. I think I can get him in the 500s at some point, maybe post buy.
Yeah, I probably don't disagree with that. I don't think he's going to like sit at bloody 600 all year, but I just think there's a decent chance he has. Like if he has a really good start and he's trending up, like what are you going to do?
Another reason is I'm trying to cram all these money makers in, and I think
I get
want
that
to go
part.
A bit deeper in defense. As I said before, I was reeling off forward mid rookies that we're getting, and then defense I'm a bit unsure.
Yes,
so I'm fitting more players in the forward line, and
yeah, there's a lot of like 200 to 300k players that we want to have a spot on field for in the forward line. I definitely get that.
If you had to pick,
I think F1 should be Horn Francis and then go from there. You got 5 other spots, mate.
Okay, if you had to drop one of Horn Francis, Butters, or Brayshaw, who are you dropping?
Probably Bond, George.
Yeah, okay.
He's pretty close to not making my team, just because. I mean, he's captain option, right? Is Bond. Like, and if you've got another one like Butters, and I'm picking Cherry, and if I'm not picking Bond, I'm probably picking Shees. Like, there's enough there.
Yeah.
And I know Bond is, like we've both said, the best player in the comp for the last 5 years, and all these other pricks winning awards and him not getting any, like we still think he's the best, and I get that. And he could hurt. He could really hurt. Like he's a man that can go 150 plus for a month and really hurt. But I just think, I don't know. Horn Francis, like for what I just think he's got to sit at F1. And look, it's not like a must-have lock 100%. I'm saying I don't think I can find a reason not to, like a few other people are. That's all.
I'm open to picking him, but at this stage, I've put high priority on these mids that I like.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
You just need spots for your Hugo Garcias and your Sanders and your and your marriage and that's what you need, mate. No, see ya. That means Horn Francis got to go.
Well, I've only got out of those 250 guys. I've only got Hugo Garcia.
Yeah, I am actually intrigued by him.
And
someone like Elijah Hewitt can always sit at M8 if you.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway,
we'll see.
We've talked
we
enough.
can wrap it up.
Let's wait for some games and then we can talk properly.
Yeah. Practice games start on the 15th, like the non-Amy games. And the Amy games start on the something else, 20-something. I think it all finishes up from like now until the 2nd of May. We'll get a bunch of practice games, however way they work and whatever type they are. And then it's round 0 a week after that. I'm not sure. I think most on KO.
Yeah. I mean, I know the Amy ones, will obviously be on TV, but the unofficials, I guess, maybe some on club websites, whatever. I'm sure people will find that out. Post in the Discord. If you don't want to find that stuff out, I guarantee you in the Discord it'll be. So yeah. No,
good to catch up, and we'll do. I don't know, maybe after the first round of practice games or after all of them, we'll see how we go. But definitely we'll do another pod before season starts, and should be good. Thanks again,
No worries, mate. Good to be back.
Easy. We'll see you guys in the next one.